Hi everybody, happy Tuesday. Hard to lose early Tuesday. Yesterday my daughter was off from school, so it's going by a little bit quicker. I just wanted to pop in today and just talk a little bit about slow and small and what that looks like in our lives, especially with the coming of all the holidays and all those fun things that add extra things that we get to enjoy and things that we get to do. My friend is releasing a devotional coloring book all on this topic. So it's been in my mind recently. It's called The Artisan Pace. It is super awesome. And then I had another friend also release one called Resting Mary about slowing down, especially during the holidays. And so just been all around me just this notion of slowing down and really savoring, which is something that the Lord has been constantly doing in my life. Especially since college, I was a go, 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 go person. I didn't need to stop to eat because I had to keep going and do everything that I had to do on my list. I know people are like, how do you forget to eat? I'm like, well, I was busy. That was pretty much my jam. I worked full-time in college and went to school full-time, and I hung out with my boyfriend, now husband, all the time in between that. And so that was pretty much my life during those times. And so once we found the Lord in college, then he really showed me how to slow down and what that meant, and just really be able to rest in him. And one of the verses that he really used in that time was from Isaiah chapter 30. My desk is a mess, don't mind me. Verse 15, it says, "For thus said the Lord, the Holy One of Israel, in returning and rest you shall be saved. In quietness and in trust shall be your strength." And so this notion where it says returning, it's talking about repentance. And so as we repent and as we rest in the Lord, then we are saved. That's where we find our salvation, through repentance. And then quietness and in trust shall be your strength. And so, just a literal on that is about that slowing down and being able to rest in Jesus. When we find our salvation in him, we can slow down. We don't have to do all these things. We don't have to go after these things of this world that aren't going to lead to anything, right? It's about putting our hope in Jesus and allowing him to show the things that he made for us to do and getting them. And sometimes they are seasons of really busy and there are things that we have to do. But I think there's still times to rest and be able to just be down, but we can fill our schedule so easily. Like, you have to be here because you're invited. And that was something the Lord really showed me too. It's like, just because I was invited does not mean that I need to go, and that's okay to say no to things. And so I had to learn that, which is so silly that the Lord had to teach me to slow down, that I didn't know how to rest. But growing up, if we were sick, then that meant we really had to be in bed. Like, we could not play, we could not do anything. So growing up, I said, oh, I wasn't sick, I was fine. I would just go to school like super sick, which was awful. And so like even learning how to be sick, learning how to rest, and then it's okay not to do things. It's been it was a struggle at first. And I just posted on my wall yesterday just this testimony that came up in my feed. My husband and I had been listening to the podcast, the Bible Project. They have a new podcast out, which is awesome. You should check it out. And there was a mention how they show it to their kids as a cartoon. And so that's totally my jam. So like, oh, I guess maybe I will try this, because I hadn't really shown it to my kids. Some of it's kind of like darker, but I did yesterday in the morning, and they loved it, and I had some really good questions, and it was a really great just teaching tool and just fun to watch together. And so during this in my YouTube, it came up a testimony about an ex-Mormon and how he came to know Jesus. And it was just this beautiful reminder about grace and how we do not have works, as it talks about Ephesians 3:8-9. Like, it is by grace we have been saved through faith, not by works, so that anyone can boast. Because it's not about what we do. It's about whose we are. Jesus did it all on the cross, and there's nothing that we can do that is gonna ever be sufficient. And so it's just this awesome reminder, just slowing down as we go into the holiday season and just resting in God's grace and soaking in just time and life and doing the things that we need to do, but also just not having to do it all, and there's not a reason to do it all. And so I've just loved all these reminders that have been popping up everywhere again, just about resting in His grace and in His love. I just wanted to leave you today with a question from my friend's coloring book. It's coming out December 4th, so you should check it out. It's beautiful. But I got an early copy and was blessed to be able to read it earlier. But it's all about slowing down and has these beautiful illustrations because she is an amazing, amazing artist. So here's day 2. This is the one I colored this morning. And her question is, chasing after man's approval keeps us busy, exhausted, and distracted from God's restful provision of love. Can you imagine what life would look like if the only approval you wanted was from Jesus, the one who gave His life to make yours enough? And so just this concept of resting because we are enough, because Jesus is enough. And so just kind of savor that in this week and what that looks like. What you have is enough. What Jesus did is enough. And just challenge you to be able to rest in that and see what God has for you in your resting and in your waiting, that you will find strength in that. Have a great week. Cheers.